Can you turn this into that? Of course, I'll show you what I did after the intro. Hello everybody and welcome to Rikai Bonsai, my space to learn bonsai from the ground up. I bought this Picea Glauca almost 2 years ago, soon after picking up interest in bonsai. I let it grow for almost 2 years and now I am starting it as a bonsai. Last year I applied some wire to open it up and favor inner growth. Not sure if it worked, but it's quite pushy. Anyway, the first thing to do is to remove all the wire. Here I'm removing the surface soil to see where the roots start. I hope the soil is hiding some trunk to give the tree a better leg. The soil is nursery soil, so I'll try to get rid of it as much as possible and replace it with bonsai soil, my coco coir, perlite and molar clay mix. There's no sign of mycelium, a beneficial fungus for coniferous roots. We just had hard rains, so I wonder if it got washed away. Unfortunately, the trunk's sunken section is short. I have to cut a few higher roots and later on some lower branches to create a leg. It looks like there is no taproot or bulbous roots, which is good. Just a few non-radial roots or roots sticking out to sort out. Later I might have to shorten the longest roots, but all considered it seems to be an ordinary root work. This is an interesting bit. I like this pot, functional, sturdy, elegant, even though there are no holes for the anchor wires. So here I'm using a bit of recycled wire to create an anchor rod. I make 2 bends in the wire so that they align with the holes in the pot. These bends are going to retain 2 lengths of wire that will eventually tie the tree to the pot. I wrap these wires around the rock once, then I feed their open ends through the draining holes. Here I'm trying to use a flat stone to place just below the tree to encourage roots to grow flat and radially. This stone is probably too small for the job, but in the worst case scenario I'll have one day a root of a miniature rock for free. The nebari is still underdeveloped, so I choose a possible front just by looking where the main branches are leaving the trunk. Then I shorten the roots to fit the size of the pot and I sit the tree over the flat stone. Securing the tree to the pot is important because any jiggle might yank the fine roots as they develop, breaking them and killing the tree. The anchor system I set up earlier will address this issue perfectly. Here I'm using each pair of wires to tie the tree from side to side and firmly keep it in position. At this point, I keep adding soil when needed to get the level to the rim of the pot. Roots require both water and air to thrive. Granular soil provides a good air supply. However, air pockets could retain water when watering the tree and cause the roots to rot. Then I use a chopstick to move the soil and make sure that it fills every empty space between the roots. I've picked up some moss and pebbles with an interesting shape from the patio area, and I'm going to use them to style the bonsai. In fact, adding rocks and moss to a pot helps the bonsai to look more convincingly like a miniature tree. After trying some stone combinations and arrangements, I've got one that I find pleasing, so I move the rocks into the pot to replicate it. The moss has grown on a thick layer of soil. Before placing it into the pot, I scrape the underside to remove the soil in excess. This is also helping the moss pad to stick onto the bonsai soil. Here is where I actually start the styling of the tree. Since the Picea is very bushy, I will have to pluck the needles on most branches to reveal the bark. I will also have to cut or shorten quite a few branches because they are completely hiding the trunk. And as you know, the more trunk you see and the more convincing is the tree as a bonsai. Also, the tree bifurcates into two branches quite low on the trunk, so it looks like this will be another twin trunk. I was just making my way through pruning when, all of a sudden, the battery of the gimbal stabilizer died and went back to rest position. What a bummer! No problem, I can prop up the phone and keep shooting. Once you know, more or less, what you're doing, pruning is actually quite relaxing and enjoyable. Before any major plucking or pruning, I make sure that the operation makes the view from the front more interesting. Sooner than later, I'm forced to take some big decisions. And with big decisions, of course, big cuts are coming up. Anyway, filming the pruning of a bonsai must be a very daunting operation, because shortly afterwards, the phone battery also died. When I realized it, I had already finished, and most of the work hadn't been documented, of course. After charging the battery, I could at least recover the carnage cam with all the roots and foliage that I had cut. Anyway, this is how the Picea glauca looks like now. What do you think? Would you have done things differently? Let me know in the comments below. I, for sure, am a little gutted that is another twin trunk like the other Picea. I am thinking of cutting the second trunk and bending the first to achieve a more classic informal upright. I'm Stefano, thanks for watching, please consider liking and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.